Hey guys, it's Matt. Just getting my water. It's been about a year since I've been back to the Marchwood Center. Talk to you about the economic activity here. What's changed, what's the same. Just show you it's me. Hey guys, I think it's been about a year since I've been back here. So let me tell you what it's like. There's the water place. I come here about once a week. I mean, it's been a year since I've been here with you via shooting a video. Not much has changed. The economic activity in the last 6 months has picked up a bit. No doubt about it. I don't think there are any new stores. The only real difference, the Goodwill has upgraded into what was once the Swan's Pantry. And it moved from that building. You should have seen the toilets in that building. Oh my goodness. It was a hazard if you had to go to the bathroom, which fortunately I only had to go in once. Moved over here to a much bigger location, but everything else is pretty much still here. I thought the Indian grocer closed, but it seems to be still open. And I don't get it, guys. It's picked up a bit, but again, this place was, I don't know, it was pretty dead for about 2 years. And everything survives. Everything just survives magically. I don't know how. Is that flag store up there? It's a dog grooming way up there. It used to be a flag store. I don't think anybody had ever gone in 20 years. I don't know, some of the people that have small businesses like this, I don't think they really need to work. I mean, it's like they're retired or they're living off a pension and just doing their hobby. My stepfather used to work in this building. 25 years he worked in that building. Somehow with no window in his office. I don't know how that would get to me. I have to be able to see out a little bit. Show you another view of this place. I'm down the other end of the shopping center. Definitely a 20% pickup in activity. Tom's Jerky. I think it's finally closed, but it's been there for 5 or 6 years. Who the heck is buying enough jerky where that place could stay open? They eventually succumbed. Doesn't surprise me. Chester County Travel, been open there for years, and the last 2 years nobody's been traveling. I don't get it. Even the hardware store is down in business. Hey, Puss. In case anybody was interested, these are the Ghetto nuts. These are the Ghetto mixed nuts. There's some cashews in there, so does that mean maybe it's not Ghetto if there's cashews? There's peanuts, there's no macadamias or pistachios. And then there's nuts in here I've never even seen before. Probably grown over at the Limerick power plant, but they're pretty good. I think they were $16 when I went to check them out. I was shocked. I hope that was some sort of shortage, because I love my Ghetto nuts. What do you think of Ghetto nuts? Plus. Well, guys, after sending notice after notice about the network for this old thing is going to be shut off, December 31st, it's shut off. I don't know how long I've had this flip phone. Honestly, does it show my number? I hope not. I don't know how long I've had it. At least 10 to 12 years. So they just shipped me a new phone without even me asking. They just shipped me a new phone after all these offers to get the new Galaxy and all this shit. They're sending me this. Can I open it with one hand? Look at this big piece of shit. An e-talk. This is like the jitterbug Okay, so after 12 years of high tech, right? It's bigger. It's bigger than the one I had. Now, I'm sure there's some kind of big screen in here, whatever, for stupid social messaging crap or whatever. I mean, look at this jitterbug piece of shit. I didn't ask for it. It just showed up in the damn mail because they know I'm one of the ancient relic customers that still operates with this shit. But they're loving me now. Once I have to do this, which I guess I will, same plan or whatever, they'll be loving me because this thing will be traced, tracked, will be completely part of the new smart network, and I'll be, I'll probably get 12 roses in the mail from the Not Milk system. They hated me on with this thing, man. This thing probably can't be tracked properly in the new smart grid. Oh, they hated me with this. But anyway, I don't know. I don't use them much, but I don't know. I guess I'll just switch over to this stupid thing. But the funny thing is, it just came in the mail without, it was FedEx. I had to sign for it. I didn't ask for it. They just shipped it to me and said, enough of this. Just send him the damn new phone without even him asking or even choosing. I was going to go to the Verizon store in December and do something, but whatever. You hungry, sweetie? Who's hungry? Okay, come on, let's go. Come on, let's eat. Let's eat. Guys, just about a minute and a half on this topic and I'll move on. I finished Netflix Sandman. It turned, in some regards, horrifically bad. There's some things I want to complain about that I cannot talk about here. Let's just say this. Sandman, as I'm skimming through the comic book that I have, is supposed to be, or many times, unrelated stories, or a general theme follows them, but what happened to the Dream of a Thousand Cats has nothing to do with the next story. And it did follow along those lines in some regard. It tied it together with this Morpheus dream character. I don't know how many different unique segments there were. 10, 11, 12. I don't know. It wasn't just the amount of episodes, which was 10. So I would say there were 4 segments that were just excellent. Absolutely excellent. Getting you to think. 2 of the 4 were just phenomenal. The others, say, meeting the guy at the bar every 100 years was very interesting, thinking about how that would go down if you were granted that sort of, a limited term immortality. But the other segments, guys, many of them, maybe 7 other segments, 8 other segments, 9, I don't know. Half of them were absolutely terrible. And what I want to complain about that I cannot talk about here, I don't know how to say it. Whenever there were 2 people that cared about each other, every single time they were, you say same blank partners and same rice checks, wheat check. Does that cereal still exist? Same wheat checks partners. It was the same Matt. There must have been some relationships there that were no. They pushed it every time. It was unbelievable. Just getting my water. Great Oak Natural spring water. I've asked the guy. He claims it's pure, no whatever fluoride and everything, but we'll see, right? That's 15 minutes I can't get back. Bootsy. What you doing, Boots? Where's Puss Puss? Puss Puss. Hey, Bootsy. Boots a girl. Look who's coming here. Now, how the hell is that Joe Rogan? Matt, you're talking about yourself in third person. It's you. You have some sort of Britney Spears personality disorder. Yeah, these dumb every so many weeks some dumbass comments. Who's Joe Rogan? I mean, because some dumbass channel planted that in their people. I'm not talking about Commander Lou. Commander Lou had fun. I'm sure he had fun with it recently. My friend Commander Lou don't think I'm Joe Rogan. These dumbasses pop up, and some of them think I'm Billy Corrigan. I mean, literally. And I don't think they're joking. I mean, I'm honestly, many of them believe it. These are some of the dumbest people on the face of the earth. Where's my $100 million? You think, oh, you know what? You caught me. They flew me down from my mansion to stand it. Matt, they just stood you in front of the water, and you just make it seem like you're some regular dude. You're Joe Rogan. That night where you stood in front of your water, you probably went to a big party in the Hollywood Hills. Snuff party, shit you can't even talk about, eyes wide shut, Matt. You a fraud, boy. Back to the economics for a few minutes. These are the images you've already seen. I'm just going to talk over these placeholder images. All that we've learned over the last 2.5 years, it is off the charts, the amount we have learned about the nature of reality. Things here that just don't make sense. The illusory nature of reality itself. We learned about ourselves. I remember talking to somebody, say, March or April, early April of 2020, right after they locked everybody down. Only essential personnel can be on the streets. I mean, they did this everywhere. You could only go out in an emergency or for food, or I forget the rules. You couldn't cross a border. They would threaten to arrest American citizen if you were to drive from Pennsylvania into Delaware. I mean, just completely threw the Bill of Rights out the window. And nobody cared. It's the Bill of Rights, Matt, is only there for when things are normal. It's okay to just throw it out if things get a little odd. Anyway, I remember talking to somebody, and this is, look, I had already talked many times that the flash crash was almost like an announcement, proved how fake the stock market was running on some sort of simulation Whopper supercomputer, but I'll just speak for myself. I had no idea how fake everything was. So the point is, I remember talking to somebody, and it was let's just say mid-March of 2020 or late March, and he said, "How long can this lockdown and everything go on before it just crashes the entire economy and plunges it into 1929, times 5, the Great Depression in the United States times 5?" And I remember saying, this can't go on for longer than 6 to 8 weeks because of all the things we've heard over the years, the just-in-time systems, where this widget has to get here by a certain time or the whole plant can't operate and then all the trucks can't go. The whole system is just in time. And for years they told us about banks lending to other banks and LIBOR. And that's the rate where banks lend to other banks. It's all a fraud. And so if you can't just tell people to stay home, I'm bombing it. The money multiplier effect, it's exponential times 1,000 in terms of, shutting that down. So there's no way that could happen if any part of it were real. And guys, I go into areas where a lot of the truth community won't. It was so unnatural that just these stores just still open. That the dog grooming place, I guess, had a window line of credit to the Fed. I mean, it's a metaphysical reality breakdown to me. There are thousands of things going on here. We have no idea. Even those on the quote the edge of understanding or the edge of truth or the things that we investigate, things we will never understand. There are more strange, bizarro things going on in this reality, in my opinion, than normal things. And no, one last time, it can't be run and executed by the secret societies with their cherrywood tables and their ashtrays. And somebody actually commented recently. Some of these comments is just unbelievable. Somebody said, Matt, they wouldn't need to meet around a table with ashtrays. They could the secret societies could Skype. Like I'm completely unaware that these techniques to talk online don't exist. I'm just making a point. I don't think they went into smoking rooms. I don't think that happens at all. I don't think it is that sort of coordination. It's just a reality that's now the understanding of it will always be outside of our perception. And somebody got on me about that sort of talk recently. Matt, stop saying we'll never figure it out. We don't have to figure it out. The more you try to figure that shit out, the more you're spending time, quote, away from yourself. Worry about yourself is not selfish. Worry about yourself is not do what thou wilt. The credo of Satanism, they're two completely different things. Worry about yourself is not selfish. It has nothing even to do with the 3D world or the physical. It's get in touch with your spiritual side. That's all you're here to do, not save the world. The world will tempt you that it can be saved. It draws you outside of yourself. And yeah, Tom's Jerky eventually succumbed, but it had nothing to do with CV. I don't think anybody ever went into Tom's Jerky for 1,000 years. I actually tried to go in once because I felt bad. I got to buy a little jerky. I mean, nobody comes into this poor place. It was closed on Monday or 2 days a week. It was closed. And Matt, somebody's like, it would have thrived, except it's called THOM. And the millions of people that wanted their jerky were searching in the yellow pages under T. They would look up, of course, naturally, TOM. Just like it's amazing Tidy Bowl ever sold one box or one tube or whatever it comes in because it's spelled in a weird way, in a Mandela-affected way that nobody would ever search for in the yellow pages. That's another thing that gives those strange Mandela effects away. Matt, you stop bringing the Mandela effect in, you freak. Okay, guys, I want to close with that story I alluded to the other day. I wanted to tell you about my father's girlfriend who has ALS, the situation she's in a new facility 1 week or less after she got there. They immediately went into CV lockdown. The story is generally about how people's families are going insane. And this is the last image I'll show. It's my little garden gnome that Brandy fired in a kiln for me and then painted. And, she survives the winters out there. And I have to cut away the Pachysandra and find her again. So this story's kind of long and probably won't be for everybody, but I wanted to tell it, and I'm sure a lot of you will completely understand my frustrations, and you see similar things from your family. So again, it's not about the circumstances, I'll tell you. I do need to lay it down for 2, 3, or 4 minutes. It's about how bizarre the thinking in the family is, and even Donna herself. I'm putting this at the end of the video. Most of my family doesn't watch these videos, but I'm sure they wouldn't be too happy about me telling the story, even though, of course, I'm not going to give, I'm going to say some first names and nobody knows the people and, whatever. Let's just start. Just get to it, Matt. Okay, first section, I'll be as quick as possible. My father just turned 80. I guess when he was about 75, he started dating Donna, who has ALS, but very slow progression. Now, my father, always been an athlete. You would never know he's 80, does pretty well. Very sharp, and there's none of those issues going on with Dad or Donna, but she does have ALS. It's very slow progression. In the last year and a half, the progression has picked up, and she needs a walker, a 4-point walker. Just the cane doesn't work anymore. She falls a lot. It's a situation. Dad's freaked out. He feels he can almost never leave. So for the last 3 years, he almost has been with her 24/7, 365. And he's overly protective. Okay, she tries to do too much. She says, "I can do it," and he'll go out and take a walk or take a bike ride, and she'll be up, trying to walk down the street by herself, and he's like, "You can't do this." Anyway, she's always falling. She's broken some micro cracks and some bones, and she's always doing more. And to a degree, that's good because she's pushing back and won't accept. She just won't go gently into that good night. But in a way, it's bad because she's constantly putting herself in a situation where she's going to fall and really get hurt because she's always trying to do too much. "No, I can do it," she says, and Dad's always trying to do it for her, so they fight over that. Anyway, that's the background. 45 more seconds to bring you up to speed information, then the main part. Okay, Donna has a big family. She has a lot of kids, tons of grandkids, tons of people coming and going. My family with Dad, and it's very small. Okay, so Dad tells me, okay, as of she a couple weeks ago, he said she's moving into a facility. It's just the way they described it: senior living, nurses coming and going. I thought, well, she's going to get the full care there she needs, and she's not indigent. I mean, her first or second husband died who owned a business. She has money. Okay. So the point is, let me just get right to it. The family comes, they move her into this facility. It's I don't know, 10, 12 floors. She's towards the top, and everybody's happy with it. And I say to Dad, and again, she has at this point advancing ALS. She should not be left alone. And even when she gets up to walk with her 4-point walker, she should be supervised. I mean, just, So I say to Dad, well, what kind of nurse services? She needs assistance showering, all that sort of assistance. And he says to me, well, she's at this point been in there 4 days, say. Well, there is no services. I said, what? There's no services. She can get the services from all the nurses that work on the bottom floor if she really wants them, right? Dad says, no, she can't get those services because all they do is those nurses serve the first and second floor. They're not even allowed to go up to the top floors. The top floors are just senior living. I said, what? And here's where it gets insane. I said, well, you and Donna and all the kids, and I mean, did you know about this? And he basically was like, well, they really didn't include me in what facility she was going to, and I wasn't there when all these conversations were taking place. I'm like, so okay, that's a separate issue. But her 24/7, 365 caregiver for 3 years, they didn't include him. Okay, that's a shaft, but that's not what this story's about. And he didn't have any say. I said, so wouldn't that be the first thing you would ask as a 72-year-old with advancing ALS? You might say, well, I know I didn't sign up for any nurse services now, but I want to make sure if things go bad over the next 2 months, and they can go bad very quickly when you have advancing ALS, I want to make sure that I can get nurse service if I need it, or whatever it's called, ADL service, or some old insurance term where you need help bathing or whatever you would need help with, or meals, or, and I said, wouldn't that be the first question Donna should have asked, that her kids should have asked? I said, did they ask that? Apparently they didn't. What? So I said, you basically moved into a situation that was worse than where she was. She was in a townhouse. They were on the bottom floor, and they could just walk out a sliding glass door to get outside, walk through some grass to get to the car. Well, it's better in some respects, Matt, because they twice a day they'll deliver food on a tray to outside her door, so she doesn't have to cook. The bathrooms are bigger. She can get her walker into the bathroom. It has one of those special bathtubs, but she still can't bathe herself. I said, but the first question they should have asked is, well, in 2 months from now, if we need full nurse services from all the nurses that work on the first floor and everything, they'll come up, right? Well, no, you need to be in this. They didn't even ask. They didn't even address it. And Dad's like, Dad's as frustrated as me. He's like, but they didn't include me. It's absolutely insane. But then it gets worse. It gets worse. I don't know. I think I alluded to this in a video recently, 4, 5, 6 days or whatever. I don't know. So after she's not even been in there a week, COVID cases on whatever, floor 3 or 4, whatever it was. The whole building goes into lockdown, like we've heard all these stories, like knocking on the window and saying hi to grandma. Not that bad, because that's full nursing home services, but they lock the building down. So dad, as soon as she moves in, say the first few days, he feels he has to be there just as much as he did because there's no services available. Oh, there's a little rope I might have mentioned before. I said, oh, that rope, and that emergency rope, that whatever, or a little button or something. He described it more like a rope or something. I don't know. I haven't been there. That then would alert the nurses if she fell and broke her hip and couldn't move. No, they won't come under any circumstances up from the first floor. That just goes to 911. I said, so you all this hoopla for months and months, the whole family moves her into this new facility, and she's in no different situation as a 70-some-year-old advancing ALS than she was last week. I mean, you've got to be kidding me. People are insane. I wouldn't say that to my dad, but I basically said her family and Donna herself. Well, Donna is not going to address. She always thinks she can do too much. Whatever. So then, okay, that's bad enough. So Dad's over there. He's still doing the same things. So part of this whole effort was to get him a little bit of a break so he could go out for 3 hours a day and play some golf or do whatever. He's in the same situation, having to help every little bit. Like, what did you all go through with that for? Then the COVID thing comes, lockdown, the facility gets locked down, and then dad nor the family is allowed in. And she can't bathe herself. She needs help with things. The family would come and go. Dad would come and go. They won't let anybody in. And she can't get any services. Like, what? So she's in a 10 times worse situation now after whatever they sold the townhouse, moved. Of course, one of these facilities, she probably had to put $50,000 down. You know how expensive the good ones are. So you did all that, and she's in a 10 times or maybe 100 times worse situation because family can't get in to help, can't bathe, won't let anybody in because of CV lockdown. If she falls, no support from the. And then I also asked Dad. I said, well, everybody has heard the stories over the last few years about the nursing homes and the family isn't allowed in and you got to wave through the glass. Did anybody ask Donna or all her kids? Did anybody ask what are the protocols if there's another spike in CV? I didn't even think they would do it over a few cases on floor 3 or whatever they did, lock the whole building down. I said, did anybody ask that question? No. So let me get this straight. The only 2 important questions relevant to a 70-some-year-old with advancing ALS is assistance services and what happens in the next round of CV. The only 2 important things simply weren't asked, weren't addressed. That's insane and absolutely insane. And it's not, Dad was like, well, they just started moving ahead without me and you could see the kids didn't really want me involved or whatever. Like that doesn't make any sense either. He's been there every step of the way, making sure she can go to the bathroom. And they just, how people, it's just disgusting all around. But it's the reason I wanted to tell the story is the insanity of it. I don't know. It's like, I don't even know any kind of analogy to, it's like, I don't know, somebody drives across country to go to get the famous Philly cheesesteak. This is horrible, but I don't know what to say. They drive across country to get the famous Philly cheesesteak and they're sitting in the place and they've just driven 80 hours and there's no cheesesteaks here. What made you think there was cheesesteaks? Well, there's cheese in the menu name. We do souffles. You drove across the country. You didn't want to make a phone call to make sure it was a cheesesteak place? I know that's bad, but I don't even have an analogy. It's so insane. Thanks for listening, guys.